You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of What If Deku Becomes King and Gets 13 Princess Harem. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Mad Hat 886 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. UF-Do. The alien-theme restaurant UF-Do is run by Sunny Denoga, the mother of Scott. Haley, walking into the restaurant, found Scott and Christine with their group of friends at a table, all stuffing their faces with the leftovers from the buffet that would have been thrown away. Rebecca Becker Denoga, Scott's younger sister, who loves breaking things. Her quirk is that she can see the weak point of anything solid, allowing her and her circle of friends named Buzzsaw, Bonesaw, Chainsaw, and Paul, to break it, as they know where to apply the pressure to break it. Kennedy, the school hall monitor, and a part-time assistant park ranger, she's also Becker's girlfriend. Her quirk lets her locate anything as long as she's holding something that belongs to whatever she's looking for. Lucy Morgan, who is very accident-prone, to the point where she was nicknamed Unlucky Lucy. Her quirk lets her separate her body parts that can float in the air and pull herself back together. Tulip Aloyth Lake, she moved to the city a few months ago after her parents separated, with her living with her mom who works at the Navy base. She has a buzz cut and goes for the tomboy look. Her quirk allows her to transform her body in living metal of any kind she wants. Jesse Kosei, nice and cheerful boy, a bit kooky and a pushover. His quirk is him able to transform into a deer, or a hybrid of a man-deer. Okay, is everything ready? Haley asked. I think so, Scott said, holding up a script that Haley made and had given to everyone. Okay, the go to school with royalty is a go, Haley said, holding her own script. I sure hope that the plan to get the princesses to choose our school to attend to works. Oh, Haley, don't you know that's impossible, Scott said, reading his line. Getting those princesses to be interested in coming to our public school is so unlikely, that Haley. Christine gasped, looking up from her script. Come on, Haley said. I eat my hat, Christine said. I'll stop breaking things, Becker said in a deadpan manner. And I'll take up can dancing. Kennedy said, looking puzzled at her lines. I take up fire dancing, Lucy said, reading hers. I'll wear a pink dress and act super girly, Tulip said and glared at Haley. I stop being a vegetarian and eat meat, Jesse said, looking ill at his lines. Oh look, it's Haley with another one of her crazy plans. There's no way that would ever happen. If it does, I'll dress as a piggy and go wee, all the way home, ACHVAC said, shaking his head at his lines, having followed the script of him appearing behind Haley. Haley looks around excited, hoping that setting it up will have some of the princesses to show up. This isn't a TV show. People aren't just going to show up when you set up things, AC said. And they don't even know about our school. Justice High sent Underfist to talk to the princesses. We could only send an email, Scott said. Well, I also sent an email to the embassies of the princesses, promoting the restaurant with them eating for free, Haley said. What? Sunny asked, overhearing Haley. Great way to get their attention. Free food for royalty for a limited time, Haley said. Which means you too, Crab Queen, Sunny said, her eyes narrowing at Haley. Well, you are just going to throw the food away, Haley said. It would really promote the restaurant, but Haley, you really think any of those princesses will just show up? Sunny asked. The front door of the restaurant opened, causing everyone to look at the entrance. Thad and Jonathan entered the restaurant waving at their friends. A small blue-colored child with a mutation quirk ran in before the doors closed. "Ah," Haley said. "As I said, this isn't a TV show," AC said. "Sam." Hearing the voice, the group looks at the entrance as Ruby Gilman, the Kraken princess, came running inside going after the small blue boy. Followed by their parents Agatha and Arthur followed their two kids inside. Izuku and his mother Inko also entered. Having to bend down, the giantess Princess Luna entered. "Wow, she's big," Scott said in a daze seeing the busty Amazon giantess. "She is," Christine said blushing as her eyes roamed the giantess, who is wearing a dress that doesn't leave much to the imagination. Which the others also did as the look upon the body of the night princess. "Hi, we got an email saying that royalty eats for free," Luna said to Sunny, who is very intimidated by Luna. "Yeah, that's right," Haley said, getting cold feet as she looks up at the towering Amazon princess in front of her. She has seen pictures of Sunset and her mother and knew that there's an aunt too. But now that she's in front of one, who like her sister can move planets and stars around just by thinking about it, is causing her to regret the idea she had to go to school with royalty. Bakugo screamed as he's being held down with a gun barrel shoved into his mouth, as 4 Cyclonia soldiers held his arms and legs, while a 5th held the gun that's in his mouth. His clothes have been stripped off of him, leaving him naked. He's on a table in the yard of the Cyclonia embassy, where Mstr Cyclones is using an electric cattle prod on him. In full view of the public of the torture, and has iBot streaming it all live. "I must say, Izuku was right about you. Once mad you just go full stream ahead without thinking," Mstr Cyclones said as she jabs the electrical device into Bakugo's groin, causing him to scream and wets himself. "But really shouting threats about brutalizing me and then blasting yourself into the embassy grounds?" Mstr Cyclones waves to the police and the heroes who are just watching the torture. The sentinels are guarding the hole in the wall that Bakugo made, and the only reason why they didn't blast at him when he did and entered the compound, is because Mstr Cyclones had them stand down. They can't enter the grounds as this an embassy, which means that the laws of Japan don't work here, only Cyclonia law. If they enter I can legally kill them or declare war. Just like you, who couldn't do anything but shout after I took your quirk away and beat you without even trying, Mstr Cyclones said to Bakugo as she jabs the prod into his groin again, jabbing it into his naked flesh. She held the crystal that held his quirk that she took from him. "I'm a villain, I'm open about it. I was taught by my family how to be a villain. The villains of this world can only dream of what I'm able to do and get away with. How many villains can have someone stripped naked and tortured in full public view like this? I can, because you're on embassy grounds and under my laws, one being, I can have anyone openly threatening me killed or publicly tortured and humiliated. Diplomatic immunity, and there's nothing the heroes or the police can do to save you. And this is all being shown live, so even after you're dead, people will still be able to watch you being beaten, humiliated and wetting yourself. Also you have a small PP that is only 2 to 3 inches. Izuku is far more impressive. I should know, I bathed with him enough times," Mstr Cyclones mocked. Mstr Cyclones grips the crystal and breaks it over his face, letting the pieces fall on his face. Tears form in Bakugo's eyes seeing his quirk gone forever. Tears? Good, you know, and showing everyone that without your quirk, you're nothing. Izuku without a power has taken on far more powerful villains that this world has and won. Or in my case caused me to fall for him, with his corny attitude he picked up from that Wander fellow, and his charms. And as I said, he's only 14 like me and he has a bigger PP than you. Is that why you bullied him? Because he's more of a man than you. Mstr Cyclones laughs, then stops and looks at the soldier holding the gun in Bakugo's mouth and taps her cheek. Shoot. A gunshot rang out as the gun barrel shifted so that it's pressed up against Bakugo's right cheek and the bullet tore open his cheek. The shot also damaged his mouth and crack or broke some of his teeth on the right side of his jaw. I taken your quirk, I showed the world that you're nothing without your power, how easily, I beat you to the ground after, I took it from you. I took your so-called bright future as a hero, from you. Now you're just a no-name loser who only had one thing going for him. You would have never survived the journey Izuku had through the different dimensions. Too easy to hate you, and with how fragile your ego is, would have just gotten you killed. Now toss this trash out, Mstr Cyclones said to the soldiers. The soldiers carried Bakugo by his limbs and swung him through the hole in the wall into the arms of Death Arms, who carried him to the medics. Mstr Cyclones stood before the crowd on the other side of the hole in the wall. Remember, I'm a villainess and enjoy being one. The only reason why I'm being nice and not declaring war on Japan is because of Isuku. I already know that the Hero Commission of Japan just loves flashy powers like small fuse there. And would make him a hero, as he loves to claim he is. He's more of a villain who now has no powers. I'm glad that all the top hero schools of Japan are toxic condemned waste sites now. Japanese cultural emphasis on conformity as a virtue is antithetical to the very concept of heroes. Japan heroes are all flash and marketing. If Izuku was already a hero like so many are in Japan, I would have killed him, Mstr Cyclones said, and left, returning to the embassy building. That night, Shai Hasaikai, a group of dangerous Yakuza, led by Overhaul, with the goal of taking the leader of the underworld title that was once held by All for One. They've been keeping low and out of sight since the princesses of other dimensions appeared. With some of them having advanced technology and magic, everyone was on eggshells. Overhaul is meeting with his group to plan ahead of the new opportunities presented to them. The technologies and magic from the other dimensions is already a big deal in the underworld, everyone wants to get their hands on it. The problem is that there is just way too much security around the embassies, namely the giant 30-foot robots made to hunt down and kill those with powers, and the other robots. They had seen the movie and seen the robots from that post-apocalypse world in action, lasers that can turn someone into dust and plasma that can turn things into green goo. Autodocs that fixes up people even better than most healing quirks. Vending machines that can make just about anything, as long as they have the holotape to make the item. And the robots who, while using outdated tech even by this world's standards, are much more advanced and made to last. Plus, having a robot butler to clean and take care of the house chores has become the top Christmas wish list. Suddenly all of them members felt something grabbing them, and the roof of the compound was lifted up. All of them were lifted up into the air and brought out to the yard, where dozens of those iBots are hovering in the air with their lasers all aimed at the Yakuza members. Along with Cyclonia soldiers all aiming their laser guns and other weapons at them. On a large flying machine crewed by 6, a pilot, 4 gunners and a technician, is Queen Torrent, who pointed her staff at them and drained them all of their quirks. With all of their powers gone, they were placed on the ground, still surrounded by soldiers and robots. A section of the compound wall fell, revealing Princess Luna, the sister of Queen Celestia, who is just as big but more muscular than her sister. Who held the much smaller form of Eri in her arm. What's going on here? All Might asked, having been called in with a number of other heroes after a large force of Cyclonia soldiers suddenly came out of the embassy, followed by their queen and Luna. With what happened earlier that day, all the hero agencies have been on high alert. Reporters and news crews are already on the scene. These Yakuzas have been harvesting this girl's BLD. She has the power to reverse living things back to how they used to be. They've been making bullets that can remove quirks. Like how Torrent just taken their powers. She asked me to save her, so I did, and asked Torrent for some help, Luna explained. I was happy to help. And these powers are useful, Torrent said, her staff now containing all of the quirks she has just stolen. Asked for your help. All Might asked Luna. I have the power to dream walk, I can enter anyone's dreams. I have been contacting the police and heroes of kidnapped people since I came here, Luna said. That was you? MT Lady asked. Yes, but I took more hands-on action with Eri here, Luna said, looking down at Eri, who is clinging on to her. These Yakuzas would have given you heroes and the police trouble. So, I handled it myself and got help. Quick and easy, while you heroes would have been all flash, Luna said. I do hope the other countries have heroes who I would actually view as heroes, Torrent said. Speaking of which, All for One is still alive, Luna said, causing All Might to gasp, as did other heroes who heard about that villain. How? All Might asked. You crushed his head and he tore your guts. Did you actually see his dead body? Luna asked. No, All Might said. You live in a world of superheroes and villains, doesn't the saying, not dead till you see the body, have the same meaning in other worlds? Luna asked. I always made sure that the people I killed are dead. I have the bodies tossed into lava pits, never fails, Torrent said. Now, I'll be taking Eri back to the embassy where she'll be safe. No villains be dumb enough to try anything, Luna said. But she's a Japanese citizen, All Might said. Eri, who do you want to go with? Luna said, looking down at the small 6-year-old girl. Eri buried herself into Luna's massive melons and clung to her. There's your answer, Luna said to All Might and teleported with Eri back to the Equestrian Embassy. She's right, the Hero Commission is more a group of villains than heroes. The last president of the commission used Kana Tsutsumi, Lady Nagant. She worked as a wetwork agent to sell the illusion that society is in a time of peace. She didn't like it and the last president tried to have her killed, so she killed him instead. And it was all covered up. I learned it by looking in their files, Torrent said. What? All Might gasped. Is true, and she's the one who has just posted it online for all to see, Torrent said, looking at one of the gunners who took off her helmet and goggles. All Might, everyone else, Lady Nagant said, holding an iPad. That she just uploaded the files that was taken from her old job. Which the news stations are receiving, as did everyone else. She's now working for me, and if the commission tries anything, it just gives me the excuse to make war on Japan. I was polite earlier as it was just a worthless child and my daughter handled it. But with my new soldier, anything happens, I won't bother investigating, I just declare war, as I am a villainess after all, Torrent said. You agree to work for her? All Might asked Lady Nagant. She doesn't pretend to be good while having me kill people, Lady Nagant said. Now clean this up, this mess, Torrent said to the heroes as she and her soldiers left the scene for the heroes to deal with the villains. Later. Izuku screamed for help as he held Chloe in his arms, her body having gone cold. He carried her out of the burning building, holding her tight as he held her hand, trying to get her some medical help. He clutched the Rio Reverso that has been broken. Behind him is Lila Rossi, impaled on jagged scrap metal, having fallen from a great height. Having been turned back to before she transformed herself into a villain. Luna with her sister, the other queens and Inko watched the memory played out. Izuku is suffering from PTSD, from the number of worlds he visited that weren't shown. He's holding himself together, but the stress and other issues are all there beneath the surface, Luna explains. Different still shots of different memories are all displayed around them. The nightmare world of a future Earth with a sun about to go supernova, with Izuku helping a boy taken from the past Shu in the moving fortress of Hollywood, filled with child soldiers under the rule of the madman Hamdo. Now and then, here and there. The world of the Pale City, where Izuku companion, 6 left him to die. Little nightmares. A world being destroyed by a horde of skinless giants controlled by an even bigger titan that loomed over all. They just walk, flattening everything in their path, with their sheer size and weight. The stream coming off of their bodies, roasting everything alive that they didn't step on. Attack on Titan. A world where Japan, through the magic of genetic engineering, create biomeat, or BM for short. They are genetically modified creatures that are organically plump, very easy to breed, and provide a viable food source for the whole world. In addition, they will eat anything, even materials like plastic and vinyl, but not inorganic compounds like glass, fiberglass, or metal. Who escape and ate Japan. Biomeat, nectar. A world where demons fight alongside with human soldiers against a tide of other monsters, with a horror that could be seen from miles away. Berserk. A world where an army of magical girls lay waste to Japan. Magical Girl Apocalypse. Kurozyucho, a small Japanese seaside town where something happened, where spirals have taken over. Izuku only managed to save a small group of people who tried to flee through the mountains that surrounded the town. Uzumaki. Izuku standing in the middle of a battlefield, with the bodies of the dead covering as far as he could see. Helping the wounded and the dying. And other horrors that Izuku had to face or flee from. Izuku doesn't need a school where he can learn to become a hero. He needs a place where he can recover from this horror. I have been doing what I can, but he needs to be a child and not be a hero, Luna said. My poor boy, Inko said. He needs to be a normal kid and not have to worry about things. He should go to that Oceanside school in the States. It's layback, and unlike the other hero schools, the hero course isn't that important, it's more of search and rescue, Agatha said. Agreed, Izuku needs time to recover and relax, not having to deal with high stress, Queen Marlena said. I agree, some of my warriors still have nightmares of battles or horrors they saw, Hippolyta said. Izuku can get treatment from doctors from my dimension, Yosira said. And our girls can give him the emotional support he needs, Ursa said. Or like in the show Steven Universe from my dimension Earth, where the main character Steven, a kid hero who has tons of untreated traumas both physically and mentally. He had a complete mental breakdown after all the people he had helped through the series of stories ended. He no longer had anything to distract himself with, and all the issues he had been suppressed over the years all came out at once. Steven is frustrated, tired, and generally traumatized from all his time dealing with the Gem's world-threatening conflicts, but constantly tells his family that he's okay and not to worry about him. However, bottling up his anger doesn't work, resulting in strange power surges when his adrenaline builds up. He denies he needs help even when his body begins growing in hideous malformed ways. Eventually he explains the horrors he's experienced to his family while still constantly trying to downplay them, and turns into a monster because of all the resentment and guilt built up inside him. Izuku needs time to recover and open up with people who care for him and get treated, Queen Rainbow said. He has earned time to recover, Serenity said. And the girls also need some time to just enjoy themselves and be kids, Ephedia said. Getting to know each other with having to worry about being a hero, Marion said as Bloom and her friends had to save the day more times than they should. Me and River were going to send Star to our Earth in our dimension to learn, but then Izuku showed up. At least now Star has more people to keep an eye on her, Queen Moon said. And really bond with Izuku, who no longer be distracted by his quest of returning home or that he managed to get our girls to fall for him, Queen Zelda said. I can't believe my son is the clueless guy who has a girl or girls in love with him and he doesn't know it when everyone else does, Inko said, still embarrassed by that fact. In a government office, the government official Suki just received the news that all the senior members and retired members of HPSC have been arrested. With the files of the wet works that HPSC are responsible for and how they covered things up for so long, with Queen Torrent exposing everything and having freed Lady Nagant from the most secured prison in Japan, without anyone knowing till she revealed herself. A search of her cell revealed nothing of how she escaped. And there's not a thing anyone can do about it. The Cyclonia Empire is ranked second to the Nile Empire for a reason. While the Equestrian Kingdom has the royal family being able to just think about it to send the entire planet into the sun or crash the moon onto the earth, they're not aggressive, they are peaceful but not harmless. The Cyclonia Empire on the other hand are openly evil and are just looking for an excuse to declare war on Japan, which she is quoted saying. They have an army of 30-foot robots designed to kill people with powers, reconfigure their bodies and weapons to handle any kind of power used on them. She showed recordings of the Sentinels in action killing people with powers in the world they came from. Telling everyone that if she has a reason to she will unleash them on Japan or anywhere else, she's lawful evil so that the law is on her side. But she is still a villain and loves being one, and ruining the reputation of Japan to the world, for her is to show Izuku that Japan will never accept a quirkless hero and he should just go to a country that do have quirkless heroes already. And they only making changes because the government of Japan wants trade deals and the advanced technology of the worlds of his future wives. And for laughs, as she likes watching things fall apart for people that she doesn't like. The other queens and princesses weren't of any help to rein Queen Torrent in. They agree with her that Japan is only changing because they only want Izuku for trade deals and technology. With an entire class being allowed to pick on one student just so that they have something to release their stress on, which happened to Isuku in his old school of Aldera Middle High School, where he had to suffer systemic bullying, discrimination and abuse he faced from his peers, and the teachers. And how looked down upon the quirkless are in Japan. Why should they have anything to do with Japan or care what happens to it and its people, when the very culture has harmed someone close to them? Which they did in public, and that news spread quickly. Which Isuku has already left the country for the United States to go to school there. Adding to insult, he wasn't going to one of the top hero schools but a small local public high school in Oceanside, California. The reason why is that Isuku needs to relax and not be high stress and under pressure to conform like in schools in Japan. And the local public high school where the hero course isn't important and is more for heroes who do search and rescue. Izuku's mental health is important, which the schools in Japan don't bother with, as they only care about grades and conformity. The heroes in the United States can only be fully licensed heroes when they're 18 and not be glorified child soldiers as it is in Japan. And heroes aren't the center of everything, and people actually take responsibility for themselves instead of relying on heroes. Which causes lots of stress on the heroes of Japan with only relying on heroes, where United States is more balanced with the police and military, who unlike Japan are allowed to use their powers and not just heroes only. The black lash from that has caused a recession, as foreign investors who were eyeing Japan to invest in for trade deals from the other dimensions, are now pulling their money out. Not to mention losing face and standing on the world stage. The only good thing was the Suki was given the go-ahead to clean house and bring out all the skeletons out of the closet. What are the chances of getting Izuku back for the next year class? Suki asked Sir Night-Eye, who has been reviewing the data from the others who can see in the future. We have a 40% of getting Izuku to come back. But only if all the changes happens and that there are quirkless heroes in Japan, Sir Night-Eye said to Suki. And firing and blacklisting the teachers and staff of Aldera Middle High School? Suki asked. Noting how those two chaos spirits hadn't bothered turning the school back to normal after they turned it into a movie theater. Raised it by 1, Sir Night-Eye said. That's good enough for me, Suki said, signing off that order. Besides, with most of the hero schools closed down, some of the schools have moved to other schools to accommodate the students of the closed down schools. Some of the old schools that have closed down are being renovated so that the closed down school staff members could teach there. With the old teachers and staff fired, the movie house could be rebuilt into a new hero school. And they're right about Japan is too focused on heroes to solve the problems, Sir Night-Eye said, knowing plenty of heroes who burnt out and retired. It would be nice for the police to have our backs both in firepower and quirks. What about Izuku's mental health? Suki asked. With what we saw of some of the worlds he's been to, it wouldn't surprise me that he's suffering from PTSD and other traumas. He said he held the hand of that girl as she died. That would affect anyone. Seen it before, and how once there aren't any distractions to keep their minds off of it, it all comes bubbling to the surface. They're right about Japan not being suited for Izuku to heal his mental health here. The schools have always been high-strung in stressful environments. Remember how it was like. The American schools put a lot less pressure on their students and they can actually relax and enjoy themselves. That there's none of the out of sight out of mind mindset where abused students aren't helped till it's too big to ignore. And someone like Eraserhead can't just expel an entire class or allowed teach after the first time they do it, Sir Night-Eye said. How do we compete with that? Suki asked. By making changes so that Izuku will give us a chance, Sir Night-Eye said. And a repeat of the schools filling with raw sewage? Suki asked. We just have to make sure that doesn't happen, Sir Night-Eye said. And what of that girl Eri? Suki asked. Princess Luna has become attached to her as the girl with her. She has also given Eri a magic bracelet that keeps her from using her quirk as she's scared of using it. She will not allow anyone to take Eri by force, especially when she wants to be with her, Sir Night-Eye said. That's what I thought, Suki said. Also, any idea how Queen Torrent freed Lady Nagant? No, and she's tight-lipped about that. But it does show how dangerous she and the rest of her family are. They're openly evil but are competent in running an empire, even raising the standard of living for the people they rule under an iron fist. Mstr Buzzard and Queen Torrent want their daughter to marry Isuku to help make her more pragmatic so that their empire be more stable. She's openly baiting us to do something so that she can declare war on Japan, a war we can't possibly win. With so much funding going to heroes, the military is underfunded and they have giant robots built to handle people with powers. Plus she can take quirks away, no matter how powerful a hero is she can just take their quirks. All she would need to do is drain All Might and shoot him or just beat him to death, and there goes the moral for Japan, Sir Knight I said. We've been trying to get some advanced medical technology to fix him. But with how things are that's not going to happen anytime soon, Suki said knowing about All Might and how his quirk works. Hopefully if we fix everything that needs fixing, by next year we can get something. At least the Hero Commission won't be causing us trouble, Sir Knight I said. School in the United States was so different from Japan. Instead of staying in one classroom with the same set of classmates for years, instead the students are the ones who go from classroom to classroom, not the teachers. Also the classmates can change from classroom to classroom, so instead of the same faces there's a change to the faces. There's no pressure to conform to the group, that grades are everything, that the school you go to will determine your future. And most importantly there no quirks are everything like it's in Japan. Izuku having been to many places in his dimensional travels gotten used to culture shock. He's been to too many strange worlds not to get used to different cultures. But it was nice to be in a seaside city that isn't so dense and the beach isn't covered in trash. The people aren't centered around having heroes handle everything for them but actually take care of problems themselves. And that the quirkless aren't looked down upon, unlike back in Japan. He no longer had anything to distract him, and with the support of the girls, he's getting the help he needs. The nightmares of what he saw and what he had to do to survive. The first time he took a life, the monsters of all shapes and forms he had to face, the hard choices he had to make, and other horrors that he had to endure. The girls have all been supportive of him and getting him to do what is needed for him to heal. He has mental trauma that needs healing, and if he had stayed in Japan, he wouldn't have gotten it. In the principal office. This robot body I was given is wonderful, Principal Claudia said in the custom-built robot body. The body, head, and arms of a robobrain and the lower half of a assaultron. The brain case where the brain would have been is where Principal Claudia is housed in saltwater. The robot body is controlled by Claudia's thoughts and the voice box of the robot speaks for her. Thanks to the technology from the Nile Galaxy for races who while sapient can't communicate outside of their own race. It is nice to speak to you without the clicks, All Might said over a video call. I no longer need a translator and can just talk with my students. Speaking of which, why are you calling? The last time we met was years ago when you stopped by at the school. Hoping to get some information or calling in some old flavors? Claudia asked. Yes, we've been changing things here in Japan, All Might said. After Queen Torrent exposed all the corruption of the Hero Committee over there and how the very culture of Japan with flashy quirks and only those with quirks being allowed to be heroes. The post of how the princesses ran rings around your old mentor Gran Torino, showed that the Japan Pro heroes would have no idea how to train a quirkless student. Seeing how the lasso forced him to tell only the truth, he couldn't lie or talk around any of their questions. The only one who could train him is Knuckleduster, which Japan is using to show that they will let quirkless be heroes. Also the old shame of him having his pants and underwear pulled off by the late Ms. Poppins, Claudia said. The other old heroes of his generation are all making fun of him again for that, All Might said. Being a small public school allows the students not to have the burden of the school's reputation on their shoulders and the other pressure of Japan's schools and culture. No matter what, he is still a child who had to deal with horrors and hardships as he tried to find his way back home. I know that therapy is hard to come by in Japan. Seeing how Japanese culture, mental health issues are heavily condemned and discriminated against, Claudia said. Yes, that is a problem here, which we are changing, All Might said. Once word got out that Izuku is suffering from PTSD and is the reason why he's going to a small public school to relax and get the therapy he needs to help him, which couldn't be found in Japan thanks to its culture of not actually having a support and therapy for people with mental health issues. The new Hero Committee is now making it mandatory for all hero agencies to have a therapist and all hero schools to have one as well. Which resulted in revealing that many of the pro-heroes having tons of mental issues, with All Might himself having issues. Well, you need it the most, you only became the #1 hero because you do nothing else. You have no life outside of being a hero. Lark is telling everyone that the reason why is because you're dying from the wound one for all gave you, Claudia said. What? All Might asked. She is a villain and her mother did hack the files of the HPSC. You should just go to the Nile embassy and ask for medical aid. With their advanced technology, whatever injury one for all gave you should be a simply matter of fixing, Claudia said. I was wounded, but how widespread the story is? All Might asked. It's already spreading around here. Another thing, Queen Torrent has no quirk but is already made herself into the most feared villainess in the world. Her daughter Lark has also established herself as the most feared student in school. She made it known that she'll be going after the bullies as only she gets to be the villain around. But she's easily handled by her husband to be, so she doesn't actually do any bullying, just intimidating the other students. And her mere presence in Oceanside has caused a drop in the villain and gang-related crime. No one wants to get in her empire's radar. She's been saying that Japan only made the changes to kiss up to Isuku to keep him in Japan for what she and the others could give to Japan. That she has no quirk, and yet on the danger scale that Japan gave the princesses and their kingdoms, she comes second to Cleopatra, who also has no quirk. My point is, while Japan has downplayed the quirkless and that only those with quirks can be heroes, I would have thought that your time here in the States would have taught you that you don't need a quirk to be a hero or a villain. After all, you almost died at the hands of Trapper, Claudia said. I only survived because of Starbolt and Black Clover, All Might said. And Black Clover is quirkless. You really should have used your position as the #1 hero of Japan to push for quirkless heroes when you had the chance. Now your country can only do what it can to catch up, Claudia said. Yes, I should have done better, All Might said. Japan's society isn't suited for Isuku being quirkless, and that's that truth. I know that people will hear this or are already listening in. Your country will have to make lots of changes to even get him to even think of returning. Seeing how the girls tell him all the time he shouldn't bother with going back. Telling him that if it wasn't for them, Japan wouldn't be making changes. And the rat brings shame to other animals who are sapient with how he allowed the school to be run, Claudia said, and ended the call. In a meeting room, Suki is talking with several government officials and agents, as well as Nizu, the former head of UA before he was fired. All of them are listening to the recording of All Might's talk with Claudia, the sapient crab principal of the high school that Isuku and the princesses are attending. Thanks to the fact that Isuku is suffering from PTSD, which Japan has a horrible track record of treating, he needed a place where he can both be treated and a stress-free environment, which Japanese schools also have a bad record in handling. The PTSD Isuku is suffering from is the main reason why the chances of Isuku was so low. The ones who saw into the future didn't look beyond what the environment of the school needed to be. Our view on mental health needs to change, seeing how All Might has tons mental trauma that only thanks to him distracting himself with hero work that he doesn't have it affecting him. We have much catching up to do. The best future we have now is another lost decade like what happened in the years before quirks, but much worse. Also, while All Might does know Claudia, he was a poor choice in talking to her, Suki said, looking at Nizu. He was the only one we could find, Nizu said. Well, now the United States knows that All Might was fishing for information about Isuku. You were given the job because of your connections with other agencies and heroes from other countries. Make no mistake, any of your ideas that cause trouble, especially one that cause any of the princesses to have a worst view on Japan, won't be taken lightly. And if it means letting the evil queen take your quirk and reduce you to a mindless animal, so be it. I would wonder if some small part of you would still remember but unable to do anything about it. Just like Eraserhead, Suki said, causing Nizu to shiver at that thought. Suki brought up a screen showing the stock market figures and how it's falling for Japan stocks. Let me remind everyone that a failing economy is the best outcome for Japan if we can't get Isuku back. I already got Izuku's father Hisashi Midoriya Company's own trade firm, to transfer him to their branch office in Los Angeles, where he can spend time with his son and wife, so that Izuku won't be seeing their company as the one who keep his dad out of his life for years and less likely to make deals through them. While the company that his wife Inko used to work for their rival company, can use her closer bond with her son to make deals through her, Suki explains. The next picture showed a 14-year-old Hawaiian-American girl of medium height. She has tan skin, light brown hair styled in a ponytail with a red tie, with square bangs in between her dark brown eyes and a chipped tooth. Her clothes consist of a white t-shirt with red sleeves covered with rolled-up blue jean overalls missing a strap with golden button on one side, and light pink slip-on shoes with white soles. She also wears big red glasses and a gray watch with a screen on her left wrist. This is Haley Alohilani Banks. She's the reason why Oceanside was chosen. Seems she has a notebook full of things she wants to do in it and checking them off. One of which is her going to school with royalty. She's quirkless and got Izuku and the princesses to go to her school. She has gotten close to the group and is a person of interest, because of her doing what the top hero schools in the world were trying to do. We and every other country are looking into how she convinces Izuku and the others, Suki said. The next picture is the last picture on file of All for One. On the bad news of things, he's still alive according to Princess Luna of the Equestrian Kingdom. Besides her vast telekinesis and magic, she is also a dream walker. She can use this power to look into anyone's dreams, which she normally uses to help people with nightmares and protect them from dream spirits, which is a thing in their magical world. She used her power to pinpoint the girl Aries' location, and you all know what happened afterwards. She also been the one who been giving the police and heroes the locations of victims of other crimes. She couldn't pinpoint All for One's location, but her information did lead to several people who been working for him. But now that she's in the States, she's too far away to help anymore, Suki explains. What of the girl Eri? An agent asked. Princess Luna has grown attached to and Eri wants to remain with her. From what we know of ponies, from the information we've been given, once a female pony becomes attached to a child without parents, unless we can locate a relative of the girl or at least someone close to her, which we haven't found. Princess Luna in all likelihood will take Eri as her own, which is a common thing in their culture when it comes to young children. There is no possibility of getting Eri from Princess Luna, seeing how we can't find any family members and that Eri wants to be with her. Frankly, we can't make any legal moves on getting Eri back without causing the others to turn against us, Suki said. Bad future? An agent asked. Yes, very bad future. We have enough problems with our image and how things are done in Japan, we don't need that on top of it, Suki said. Oceanside. The armor you're wearing is your life support? Haley asked Piper, who is wearing her modified Trauma HRNSS armor. The Y-20 Trauma HRNSS, like the old Y-17 models, is a red RBB suit. The wearer's head is encased in a spherical glass helmet, which is collapsible. The suit has an oxygen tank on the back, which are in turn attached to additional armor plating around the neck and shoulder area, the area to which the helmet is hermetically sealed. It lets me interact with the outside world. Without it I would be stuck inside, Piper said. What sickness is affecting you? Asked Trixie Lulamoon. She's a blue unicorn with a white mane. She wore a matching purple magic hat and cape and dress in a purple tux. Her shirt held in check her H-cup melons and her pants showed off her large white peach, giving her an hourglass figure, and stands at 6 feet 8 inches. Trixie is a skilled stage magician and magic user who uses illusions in her magic, making it hard to tell what's real or not. She is also skilled in creating fireworks. The three of them are sitting together as they and others of their groups hang out on boardwalk. It's Saturday and school is out and the kids get to relax till Monday. Something that Izuku is getting used to, since the culture shock of after-school clubs and that he doesn't have the same classmates for every class, is something he's still getting used to. The reason why is because of Izuku's father being transferred to LA and being allowed to do work outside of the office. Namely so that he can spend time with his family and get to know his future daughters-in-laws. The company heads hope that Hisashi Midoriya be able to be the middleman in making deals for the company. But the issue is that because Hisashi has spent years away from his family due to the company sending him overseas, he really doesn't have that much of a bond with his son, and just him demanding respect from his son wouldn't work. Seeing how his future daughters-in-laws wouldn't look upon it kindly and would ruin any relationships with them. Which is why Hisashi is being coached by family specialists in how to build a bond with his son. Which Hisashi has a very hard time of doing, as he has to start from nothing. As the last time he spent time with Isuku was when he was 2. And Isuku doesn't even pretend to want to make a bond with him, he's just a BLD relative that he hasn't seen in years. No relationship or family bond, with Izuku spending more time with his girlfriends than with him. The last time you were there for him, he doesn't even remember, and now that you're here, he just doesn't need you, Inko said to Hisashi as they sat together on a bench while Izuku is with his girlfriends, Iris and her group. And mentality, he's 3 years older and more matured, Hisashi said. He'll open up to you, Inko said. When he has time for me, Hisashi said, seeing how Izuku spends more time with his girlfriends than with his old man. Well, what can you actually offer him at this point? Harley Quinn said, appearing behind the bench. Harley, have you been listening in? Inko asked. Yeah, and as I said, what can you actually offer to him? All I heard when Izuku talked about his family was about his mom, while you his dad, all he could say that you have a fire breath quirk and left to work overseas for years. The only contact are letters on holidays and birthdays, if any at all. You're very neglectful and have no bond with Izuku at all. You be lucky to have an uncle bond with him, Harley said bluntly. Hey, his Ash said. It's the truth. The whole giving everything for a job with a company where you spend years away, doesn't make a good parent material. A provider, but for any real relationship, nope, Harley said and looks to Inko. When was the last time he had any real time spent with Izuku? When he was 2, Inko said. Right, and there isn't much of a point in having a bond with someone who spent all that time away. Izuku will be traveling between our different universes once we're all married and the princesses take over their mom's duties. Well, for some anyways. So you only have 4 years till he's an adult in the eyes of the law around here. And Izuku enters the life of a homemaker husband of looks after the kids, Harley said. What? Inko and his Ash asked. Please, he's going to be the husband of princesses, and while he will have some royal duties and other things. We and the other girls aren't expecting him to be the breadwinner, or be wearing the pants in this group marriage, Harley said. Besides, he's been through enough. Yes, Izuku has been through enough, Inko said, remembering what she and the others saw in his dreams. Him pushing himself to be a hero was little more than a way to distract himself from the horrors he has seen. Izuku is burnt out and has lots of mental trauma. I'm helping him with what I learned to be a head doctor, Harley said. You? His Ash asked. Yup, and he needs it. This isn't like in those mangas and animes where the kid hero can have tons of nightmare-level adventures happen to them and they can just go on with their lives afterwards with no issues at all, Harley said. I guess I just need to be there to support him, his Ash said. In his room in the Nile Embassy, Inko woke up in her room, with sharing the bed for the first time in years, is his Ash. Inko knows the reason why his company is allowing him to work at home and only has to go to the branch office in Los Angeles is because of their son Izuku. With him going to marry the princesses, his trading company wants him to be the middleman for trade deals. Which is the same reason her old workplace, Fishbowl Trades, has been contacting her to get them some good trade deals. Both are after the same trade goods thanks to being companies that buy overseas goods and sell to other markets. Kraken Earth, the world where Ruby is from, is already testing the market with some goods. Salient Green, a universal and easily convertible nutrient source. It is derived from just about any kind of edible plants through a process that breaks them down to its base components. After conversion into Salient Green, the substance, when it is properly stored, it can last for years, and can be cooked in many ways. Just one of many trade goods from the other worlds, that companies want to get their hands on. Getting up from the bed, Inko sees Kimberly the Ms. Nanny, the female model of Mr. Handy, there to greet her. She's wheeling in a cart in the room with today's breakfast. Pancakes, honey, maple syrup, eggs, bacon, and orange juice. The Western food is something she is still getting used to, as well as the culture. Morning Inko, Kimberly said to Inko, setting up the plates. I'm going to wake up Isuku so he can join us, Inko said, going to the bathroom to use the toilet and wash up first. I'll inform Sprocket, Kimberly said. Sprocket is the Mr. Handy, that's the personal robot of Izuku's room. Izuku's room. Once again Izuku is pinned between two of the girls who he's going to marry when they're of age. Piper, who has been his constant bedmate as her sickly body needs contact and exposure to him, to attune her body to be able to handle her crystal ability. Even with the advanced medical technology of Cleopatra's world, the best medicine is just being around Izuku. So all the classes that Izuku has, Piper has as well, which is helping her as she's feeling better since she's been in contact with Izuku. While Piper is using Izuku as body pillow, hugging herself to his left side, on his right is Carissa, whose turn it is in sleeping with Izuku. Only some of the girls are with Izuku in Oceanside, as others just couldn't leave their world for different reasons. Like the DC Supergirls couldn't, as they couldn't just up and leave their school or world without questions being raised. Which is why Harley is the only one, as she doesn't care about maintaining her cover. As for the princesses who are actually ruling their own kingdoms, they couldn't leave it for young, namely Glimmer, Perfuma, and Frosta. Glimmer has her dad, but her kingdom is one where only queens can rule. So only Adora, Catra, Scorpia, and Entrapta are in Oceanside. The girls who aren't in Oceanside visit when they can. The other girls are getting used to the culture and people of Oceanside, but put up with the changes as it's something that Izuku needs. The girls have all sleep with Izuku at least once, and all of them know about his nightmares of the horrors he has seen. Sunset's aunt has been helping him in smoothing out his dreams so that the nightmares won't affect him as much. The girls also have to do their part in helping heal Izuku's mind. After all, he did so much for them when all he had to do was open a portal to continue on looking for a way home, but he stayed and helped them. Morning kids, Inko said, stepping inside the room and pulling the blanket off of the kids. Mom, it's Saturday, Izuku said, as unlike back in Japan, the weekdays are school-free. I know, but I just want all of us to eat together, Inko said, who has been pushing for Izuku to join her and his father for meals. That means you girls too. Yes, Mrs. Midoriya, Carissa said, wearing a tank top and shorts like Piper. Inko is making sure that none of the girls wear anything too revealing when they sleep with Izuku. She's not that eager to be a grandmother. And that Izuku also wears clothes that covers himself, unlike his father, who has taken up the habit of sleeping in just his underwear. Inko helps Piper to her feet, as even with her getting better because of her son, she is still a sickly girl who still needs to wear the limb braces to move around inside. And wears that life support suit for when she's outside. From what she has heard, Piper was worse before Lurk began medical treatment for her. Carissa, help me, Inko said as she walks Piper over to the bathroom. Coming, Carissa said, heading to the bathroom to help Inko with Piper. Another normal day, Izuku said, liking the peace and routine. None of the high stress and conformity of Japan here, he can just have a normal life for a change. Elsewhere in the embassy. Iris frowned as she sat with Sunset, Cleopatra, Usagi, Azula, and Zelda, talking about the way that nobles and royalty are to interact with each other. They're having breakfast as they talk about how to be a princess. They've been helping her learn how to act like a princess, how to speak and act when out in the public, and maintain the image of power and control that their subjects expect from them. So why aren't you learning to be a princess? Iris asked Bloom, who is sitting at another table. My sister is the one who's going to be the queen, I'm going to be the guardian fairy and backup, Bloom said. My brother is the prince, I'm the trained soldier, Adora said. I'm a princess, but my family haven't ruled our lands for years, Scorpia said. I support my kingdom with my intentions, Entrapta said. We're more laid back in Rainbow Land, we do maintain the color of our universe, Rainbow Bright said. Grandma is the one who is ruling and we're more warrior guardians. Like with the Amazons, Ruby said. The Amazons protect something magical, I think, Harley said, being the only one from her world that's there. And I hate that I'm going to have to act like Mom when I'm older, Star said. She takes after her dad more than her mom, Kelly said. What about Lark? Iris asked. Said Princess is in her own embassy. She's the evil princess, it's more installing fear, Sunset said. I know it's hard seeing how you didn't grow up as a princess. Even if I wasn't told I was still the personal student of Mom, so I had to learn how to act among the nobles and the upper class. Just be glad that you don't need to learn how to interact with thousands of different races and cultures, Cleopatra said. We do have contact with other planets, Usagi said. And with what my mother did with Uncle Link, I need to live up to that example, Zelda said. That's the cost of being royalty, Azula said. Maintaining the image of being in control and being prefect? Iris asked. Yes, as you are expected to rule. But seeing how we're all going to be married to Isuku, we can get help when we need it, Cleopatra points out. And he's also going to need to learn what his duties as king will be, Catra said. We ease him into it, Iris said. Inside Canterlot Castle, inside the bedroom of the Night Princess, Luna is getting ready to sleep. She ate breakfast with her sister as normal, but for the new member of the family, Eri. The young girl, since being rescued by Luna, has clung to her and stayed with her as much as she could. Which Luna doesn't mind at all, having grown close to the little one. Eri is now a unicorn filly, thanks to traveling to the equestrian earth by the magic mirror and back. She now has a light pink coat, and white mane and tail. The horn on her head is now a unicorn horn, which is where the power limiter rune has been placed on her. She still has her quirk that reverses things, but now with her new magical powers, it can be suppressed by magic. Eri likes her new body as she's now more like her new mama. Sister, she can't just sleep all day, Celestia said, sitting on Luna's bed as her sister waited for Eri to be done in the bathroom. Eri needs right now is love and mother. You can teach her when she's ready. I'm teaching her things already, Luna said. I know that, but she should be with fillies and colts her own age, Celestia said. When she's ready, right now bonding is more important. I deal with the nightmares she has of that man, she's only comfortable with me holding her. Besides, I don't want to hear how to raise a child when you did a horrible job with Sunset. She holds herself up strong and keeps a strong image. I see my niece's dreams, Luna said. That's why I want to help. I made so many mistakes, Celestia said. I know you mean well, but Eri is different from Sunset at that age, Luna said, and looks towards the bathroom door opening, and Eri dressed in a night shirt came running to the bed. Luna smiled as she lifted Eri up in the air by her telekinesis and plops her on the bed. Eri buries herself into her mother's massive melons, unknowingly rubbing Luna's scent all over her. Young colts and fillies, when they sleep with their parents, will have their parents' scent cover their bodies, marking them to their parents. Making it easier for parents to find their children in large herds made up of smaller herds. Celestia left the two to sleep but couldn't help but look back as Luna as she lays on her side and looks down at Eri as she nuzzles her face into her melons. Celestia saw what she could have with Sunset, looking down at Sunset as she nuzzles her face into her melons. Marking her with her scent to show that Sunset is her daughter. But she didn't, and while she has tried to bond with Sunset, she refused to be marked by her. The only ones that Sunset has shared her scent with are her bodyguards and friends, seeing them as her herd. Which is why she was so angry when she found Isuku and how Sunset had marked him as a part of her herd. Her daughter doesn't have her scent on her, and doesn't want it. Oceanside. Haley is showing Isuku, Piper, Star, Kelly, Higgs, Azula, Ty Lee, and June, who are spending the day with him today, around Oceanside. And checking off another of her to-do list in her journal, being a tour guide. Seeing how she is the one responsible for getting all of them to Oceanside, she has made herself their go-to girl to show the around. Helped by Ruby and Isuku taking a liking to her when they first came to Oceanside after getting her email. She's showing them Oceanside's famous lighthouse, which was built by her great-great-grandfather P.H. Florange, who incorrectly built the lighthouse, resulting in the light shining towards the town and becoming useless. They're not alone, as Izuku's robots, Eddie, Roxy, Muggy, and Toe are with them, as well as Izuku's parents. His Ash has been trying to bond with Izuku, but as Harley told him in Inko, the best he can hope for is an uncle relationship. His company is counting on him to be their middleman for trade deals, which he pointed out because he has spent years away from his family. For the company, he has no real relationship with his son. The company responded by paying for classes for his Ash in parent and child relationship. As the whole Asian parenting system of just demanding respect from the child wouldn't work at all, as his girlfriends would just see that and make sure he's far away from Izuku. Or just send their soldiers to teach him a lesson. Well, what do you really expect? Izuku now has girls on his mind, Inko said to his Ash. The time where girls are icky and are boys' natural enemies has passed, his Ash said, remembering how it was like for him. And that they also making sure he knows it, Inko said, and eyes her husband. Izuku gets that from you. I wasn't that bad, his Ash said. Meanwhile, with the kids, Haley is explaining how her mother is trying to sell the lighthouse. Why hasn't anyone just installed a light that spins? Piper asked. Lack of money, Haley said. This reminds me of the lighthouse that Jade and the others live in, Izuku said. I know, let's go and visit your first world, Star said, taking out her dimensional scissors. But I have no way of going back, I broke the portal gun, Izuku said. Yeah, I know, but with this new scissors all you need to do is use something that belongs to either the world or someone from that world. That's how we got to your world, Star said. After opening portals to other worlds where you never found the portal gun in the first place, Higgs said. It got really awkward real fast, Star said. Remember the Izukus she grabbed and turned out to be the wrong one. And had to explain herself to that Izuku who was about to take the exam test. But she did give him a magic set of armor, shield and sword for the trouble. Lucky that you left some stuff behind to use to narrow it down, Kelly said. Really, with the tree roots we just were told to think of you to find the right world, Ty Lee said. And once here, I used that scarf of yours to track you down, June said. The hard part was finding a spirit who would guide us to the tree, Azula said. Here, try, Star said to Izuku, giving him the scissors. Okay, I try, Izuku said as he held onto his SAC and picture the lighthouse. He created a portal like he did before while in Star's world. Izuku, what's that? Inko asked as she and his Ash walks over. Going to see Jade and the others on Hillis, Izuku said, stepping into the portal. Beyond good and evil. The lighthouse shelter sits on top of a nameless and lonely island just south of Hilly City, as Izuku remembers it. The lighthouse was built by Peijay in 2415, and is used as an orphanage, of which he and Jade along with their dog Wolf, take care of. Currently 6 orphans, Yoa, Zaza, Umi, Fen, Pablo and Kip, live there. With Izuku living there for some time before leaving in a search for a way home. The lighthouse has its own force field which is operated by the Optimus service that can protect the entire island from DMZ attacks and even from hungry Vorax that prowl around during the night. The only way to activate this shield is by pressing a panel at the base of the lighthouse. After doing so, an antenna-like device as well as the top platform of the tower will extend and produce the shield. A dial also shows if there's enough money in the user's Optima account to operate the force field. It will glow green if everything's fine, red if there's a lack of units. If the latter situation happens, a pre-recorded message will announce the shortage and block the electrical supply. The only way to restore the electricity and reactivate the shield is to transfer the missing amount of units to the Optima service. On the first floor of the lighthouse is a large kitchen equipped with an old-fashioned stove and a device that looks like a cross between a refrigerator and a cupboard. There is also a much smaller den near the entrance where the kids often get warm by the fireplace while listening to the radio. The second floor has the bathroom, a sleeping mat for Wolf, and 2 bedrooms, one for the boys and Peijay, another for Jade and the girls. Her room has a desk and photographs covering her wall while the other one only has beds and a few toys lying around. There's also a billboard on the wall with Page jet boots sketches taped to it, that he's been working on. There's also a door on the same floor that leads to the staircase up to the top of the tower. This is where the light and force field mechanisms are located, though the shield can only be activated from the bottom. Outside, the path from the lighthouse slightly descends towards the edge of the island where a single tree stands. This is where Jade and Fen practice their yoga moves and some of the kids spend time during the day. Yoa, particularly, is often seen next to the tree staring out to the sea. And where Isuku first showed up when he fell out of the portal. On the other side of the lighthouse is where the entrance of the hangar is located at. From the entrance, a wooden ramp leads down to the piers at the tip of which the hovercraft is docked. There are several desks placed against the cave walls here where several gadgets and items are scattered. A crane-like device is also installed next to the vehicle's usual spot. When charged with an electric battery, it can transfer some of that power to the hovercraft and jumpstart it. Though in the game, because the ship's motor was already in very bad shape, the effects wore off quickly. Inside the hangar is a small room which serves as Page's workshop. It is equipped with an disc decoder player and several computers onto which the communication devices of the lighthouse are wired. There's also a machine stuck into the wall that is used to collect discs from DLVRY robots. They simply have to plug themselves into the machine to let go of the disc, which will drop into a dispenser and become available. This workshop is where Page does his various inventions and repairs, as seen from all the blueprints and sketches lying around. That was what Isuku expected when he stepped out of the portal. Instead he saw the top of the lighthouse gone. From the low point where the single tree stands, he could always see the top of the lighthouse, which wasn't there anymore. Isuku took off running to the lighthouse, shouting the names of the friends he made who lived there. Running inside, Isuku found everything from the top till the second floor has been destroyed, leaving the first and second floor partially intact. He rushed to the hangar, running past his parents and the others who came after him. He found the hangar empty, the hovercraft gone. In the far end of the hangar was a stone wall, now gone. A path carved into the stone heading slightly upwards leads to an aircraft's platform. There is a desk where Disc sits on some papers and blueprints of a spaceship called the Beluga. Any idea? Isuku asked Secundo the AI from his SAC, showing him the disc. No, I have no data, Secundo said. Isuku walks to the workshop to use the disc decoder player. He walks past his group who caught up with him and followed him into the workshop. Inside he found Wolf the big white dog laying on a blanket, a bowl of food and a jug bowl of water left for him. Who bond over to Isuku and licks his face. Wolf, it's good to see you too, Isuku said, glad to see someone. Isuku, what's going on? Inko asked. Everyone but Wolf is gone, but someone gave him enough food and water for several days, Isuku said, walking over to the disc decoder player and popping the disc. Which is a checklist of items for the spacecraft Beluga. Depth stabilizers, check. Octocombustions, check. Flight stabilizers, both need to be replaced. Got one but need to go to the Mamagos for another. Auto guidance to the hovercraft, check. Hyper, sustenance sorting board, check. Parallelism nozzles, check. Stellar motor, needs to be replaced. Have to go to the Mamagos for the replacement. Who are the Mamagos? Star asked. A family of 4 rhinoceros sapiens that runs a garage. They're people who look like rhinos. They operate to repair and restore vehicles used by the locals as well as a towing service for those stranded. Providing a selection of fully stocked vending machines and gear stocked with black market and ex-military gadgets and upgrades. Page thinks of them as nothing but con men and crooks. As for the black market stuff, they only accept pearls as payment, which are hard to find and are illegal to own. That's where I can find out what happened here, Isuku said. You're going alone? Inko asked, worried. No, I need to see Cleo and Lark, Isuku said and looked at Wolf. Come on Wolf, follow. Isuku opens another portal which Wolf had to be forced through by Star using her wand to lift him up and shove him through. Izuku would find out what happened to his friends and make the ones responsible pay. Mamago Garage, also known as Mamago, is a family-run vehicle maintenance company operated by the namesake Mamago family. Hal, Babooker and Isam, and their unseen mama who are all rhino humanoids. Provided with fully stocked vending machines and gear stocked with black market and ex-military gadgets and upgrades. They operate to repair and restore vehicles used by the locals as well as a towing service for those who are stranded. Hal wears an oversized rasta cap and yellow goggles, as well as yellow overalls. Unlike his brothers, he have dreadlocks. He acts as the salesman, offering to Jade the diverse items she can buy in the Mamago Garage. He have the habit to scratch his head while he talks. Hal also speaks with a Jamaican accent. Babooker can be usually seen repairing the engines outside the Mamago Garage. He wears red overalls and special safety goggles. He is a supporter of the Iris network. Once the Slaughterhouses report is released, he leaves the garage and joins the protests against the Alpha sections in Hilly City. Isam works as the desk clerk. He speaks with a Jamaican accent. Dressed with green overalls, he likes to drum the counter when he speaks with customers. Mama is the unseen owner of Mamago Garage. She lets her 3 boys, Isam, Hal, and Babooker, run the store and handle the customers. For some unknown reason, she only takes pearls as payment for parts from the garage. She's also has her hands in the black market, dealing with smugglers who bring in goods under the noses of the Alpha sections. A ship that Isam has never seen suddenly appeared and landed in the mortar pool, and someone that he hasn't seen for a long time came out of it. The ship is a small attack ship from the Nile Galaxy, small and fast, that can hold a crew of 2 and 4 passengers. For fast attacks, with stealth and shielding, with a powerful main energy gun and missiles. Isam, Izuku said, walking up to the counter. Izuku, is that you? It's been 2 years since I seen you, Isam said. Izuku? Hal asked, poking his head out of the gallery where the vending machines and black market items are sold. No time to chat, I just came from the lighthouse and found it in ruins, and the only one left is Wolf. You two know what happened? Izuku asked. Jade came by a while ago in a ship and got the stellar motor and took off. She's with a guy Double H, Hal said. Did she said what happened and where she's going? Izuku asked. Jade said that Alpha sections attacked the lighthouse and took the kids. She's been investigating them and said that they're working with the DOMs, getting pictures and reporting it on the Iris network, Hal said. Peijay never liked them, Izuku said. Sometime before 2435, after an escalating threat from the DOMs, the Alpha sections arrived and took over much of the Hylian government's political and military manners, reducing the Hylian armies to only police work. Thanks to their healthy propaganda campaigns and media exposure, support grew and bolstered recruitment into their ranks. Babooker went off to join in on the protest happening in Hilly City, Isam adds. Did she say where she's going? Izuku asked. No, sorry, she didn't, Isam said. Izuku. Cheeto shouted as she stuck her head out of the ship, which Yuri is piloting. There's a broadcast coming from the moon. It's on the channel that the Alpha section uses. What? Izuku asked and turned to Isam. Get the TV on. Right, Isam said, turning on the TV in the booth showing another report from the Iris network. That's Jade and Peijay, Izuku said, happy to hear them alive. And my big brother Secundo Sr., Secundo said, hearing the voice of the AI he's copied from. Hal called from the city. The people are rioting and fighting the Alpha section over there and he's joining in, Babooker said, pulling out his cell phone. Since Izuku shared his smartphone with Peijay, which he sold the technology he got from it. Cell phones and other advancements have started appearing here and there. But still limited as it's expensive, like any new technology. Close the shop, we're going to give our brother some backup, Isam said. You got that right, Babooker said, going into the shop to get some of their tools that they can use as weapons. The transmitter is on Seline, right? Izuku said. Yeah, that's right, Isam said. Good, then I know where to go next, Izuku said. Space. Seline is the major moon orbiting Helice, an inhabited planet in System 4. Its surface consists mainly of impact craters, rocks and fluids. Its surface gravity appears to be similar to that of Helice, and it is the only other known celestial body in the system where oxygen gas occurs, though no nitrogen or hydrogen gases are found there. On the moon, the Alpha section stationed a transmitter to broadcast their propaganda to Helice. In the command center of the Flying Spider tank, the personal war vehicle of General Keck, the supreme commander of the Alpha section. Jade turned off the tractor beam that kept the beluga from flying to the Dom's moon base where the people captured by Alpha section are kept. Drained just so that Alpha section personnel can live longer, which the general taunted Jade that the kids she came to save are already dead. Jade grabbed a live wire and struck it into the general, causing him to scream as he was fried. Leaving the command center, Jade met up with Page A and Double H. Was there someone there? Double H asked, hearing the scream. Not anymore, Jade said, hopping into the hovercraft with her two companions joining her. The hovercraft, the power source of the beluga, inserted itself into the back of the ship, into the slot that it fit in. Fully powered and no longer on autopilot, the control of the complete spaceship returned to Jade, who is in the driver's seat. And flew the craft towards the moon base and were greeted to the sight of the Dom's ships in a battle with several large battleships of a design that none of them have ever seen before, that are releasing hordes of small robots that are small ball that are firing lasers. Looks like the backup is here, but I never seen those ships or robots before, Page A said, having been traveling for a long time out in space when he was still the cook of the pirate ship he served on. Inside the main battleship of the attack group. In the command center of the warship, Ravis is watching the iBots that Queen Torrent has given the Nile 34th Fleet to use for this operation. The iBots are cheaper to make than fighters, and while their lasers are smaller and weaker, because of how many of them could be made at once, they can just overwhelm enemy fighters with sheer numbers. Learning that Jade is alive, Izuku had Cheeto and Yuri take off to the moon, calling in backup to save the people taken. Calling in the attack fleet that's been on standby, where they portal in while Izuku's ship is on the way to the moon. Brian Bell, the commander of the Nile 34th Fleet, watch as the iBots wipe out the enemy forces. The joint operation was to help some friends of Izuku, the future king, once he marries Cleopatra, but also to test out the iBots in real combat. Queen Torrent has been in talks with Pharaoh Yosira of using iBots and other robots to bolster the Nile forces, with expendable troops. We use the iBots to either take care of the enemy forces or weaken them first, Ravis said to Brain. And because of how low tech they are, they can't be remotely hacked, Brain said, watching the battle. There's an unknown ship, one of the bridge officers said. Don't attack till it's identified as hostile, Brain said. Call them, could be Jade, Izuku said over the comm channel. You heard him, Ravis said. Jade, is that you? Izuku asked. Izuku? You came back. Jade's voice said over the comms. I came back and found the lighthouse in ruins and brought some help after I learned what happened, Izuku said. Good to hear from you again, kid, hope you found your way back home, Page said. I did, and made friends on the way, Izuku said. Clear the path, I need to save the kids, Jade said. You heard her, clear the path and send down some ground troops, Secundo said. Ah, my younger copy, how has it been with the kid? Secundo Sr. asked. Did my best, but he's always putting himself to help others, Secundo said. Which is why we're here, Brain said, as that's the reason why Cleopatra fell for Izuku in the first place. Sending down transport ships, let the robots clear the way for you, Ravis said. I'll meet you there, Izuku said. Dom's base. The transport ships dropped dozens and dozens of assaultrons, with their left arms replaced with laser guns and other energy weapons, along with iBots. Making short work of the Alpha section soldiers and Dom's creatures, allowing Jade and her team to get to the main chamber where the people are being kept. They reached a platform that needed 3 people to step on the pressure plates for it to go down. They brought along 3 assaultrons with them and 6 Ibots. The elevator closed behind them. Isuku and his team reached the base shortly afterwards, with the robot soldiers securing the base and taking care of any leftover enemy forces. Outside of the base, the Hylian military had sent fighters helping to mop up what's left of the Dom's air forces. And where the robots are blasting their way into the closed. Just rip the top off, Isuku shouted over the comms, issuing commands. One of the smaller battleships came down and tow cables were attached to the platform of the elevators. Flying up, the platform came off of the top of the base, revealing a hole large enough for the small ship that Isuku, Cheeto, and Yuri are in to fly down. But Yuri, who is flying the ship, stops as the camera under the ship showed something happening down inside. There's glowing pods with people inside and they're waking up and are floating down. Cheeto said, confused. Ibots, get down there and find out what's happening, Izuku said, worried for his friends but knows he couldn't just go in blind. The Ibots flew down into the chamber with what they're seeing being broadcast to Izuku's ship and the other Nile ships. More and more pods are appearing and the people inside are waking up, opening up and floating down. At the bottom of the chamber is a strange statue where the remaining robots that went with Jade's Group 2 assaultrons are helping up. Double H and Page as floating above them glowing green is Jade. You didn't say Jade has powers, Yuri said. Well, she never told me, Izuku said, wondering what happened to Jade. Inside a Nile laboratory ship, Page is being treated for his prolonged captivity by the Doms to make sure there are no surprises. The scans of the advanced medical equipment showed that he still had some corruption from the weeks he was held as a Dom Z prisoner. Page was placed in stasis while he's being treated to stop the corruption from spreading. The scientists and doctors are using the data collected by Iris to figure out a cure. Page will be kept here and treated, Izuku explained to Jade. Thank you for the help, Jade said. It's the least I could do after you and Page helped me, Izuku said, and remembers what he saw in the harvest chamber. What was all that you glowing green and bringing everyone back to life? The Dom's priest called me Shayuni and said that I was stolen from it. My first memories is me living on the pirate ship that Page and the others members of my family lived on. The only one who knows is Page, which, I just have to wait for answers, Jade explains. I'm having the lighthouse rebuilt, it won't be the same but will be new. You can't return to how things were but you can make a better tomorrow, Izuku said. Since when you became this corny? Jade joked. Met a hero, named Wander, he and Sylvia travel their galaxy saving entire worlds against villains who are so powerful that they rank themselves by the planets that they conquered, with some by themselves managing to conquer 1 or 2 planets by themselves and keep others from taking their planets. Wander stops those villains, not by fighting but finding the reason why the villain is a villain and befriends them, Izuku said. Sounds like an amazing guy, Jade said. Yeah, I tried my best to be like him, but his way only works so much, Izuku said. How long did it took for you to return home? Jade asked. Over 2 years, Izuku said. You were older when you were last here but are still looks the same, Jade said, as he was older than the kids last she saw him and now years later he looks the same age as the kids now. I'll explain things to you and the others. It'd be nice to see the kids again, Izuku said. The kids will all be happy to see you again. They're in the cafeteria the last time I saw them, Jade said, knowing that the kids will all be eager to hear of Izuku's adventures since they last saw him. Oh yeah, I took Wolf back to my world and he's being looked after there, Izuku said. Couldn't take him so I left as much food and water as I could for him, Jade said, glad that Wolf is being looked after. Elsewhere. The Dom Z are still has little known about them but the bodies of the Dom's races has been uploaded to the Nile's database. The goal of the Dom seems to be just draining energy from other lifeforms just so that they can live forever. Being little more than advanced energy vampires who only exist to feed off of others. Sarcophagus Domzii are the bioengineered sarcophagi or sarcophaguses that allow the Dom Z to draw upon life force. Humans and other sentient races are housed within their ribcage-like bodies where they are slowly drained of their energy. When captured, their victims enter some sort of trance, they lose all will to fight back and their eyes begin to glow an eerie blue. It is assumed that this comatose-like state is caused by the sarcophagi themselves, which probably seep a certain amount of energy from their prey in order to fuel their own movements. They were created with the sole purpose of collecting energy for the Domzi, making them and the high priest live indefinitely. The sarcophagi look like floating ribcages with 2 arms and a spine. They only have 3 fingers on each hand and can scale walls and ceilings without feeling the pull of gravity. The Pterodosaurus imperators are the largest and most dangerous of the Domzi. They can travel from Seline to Helice with no problem at all and can fly for an indeterminate amount of time. These monsters are sent to destroy the cargo ships loaded with supplies, such as food and materia crystals, that the Hylians need to survive. Quite skeletal in appearance, their long bodies are a cross between a serpent and a centipede. When they attack, they drop Domzi bombs and torpedoes on the water's surface, and can also spout lasers from their mouths. If they're damaged enough, a segment of their bodies will fall off. As long as the head remains untouched, the Domzi serpent will keep moving. Spiritiatartically, the term Domzi monster, or spirit eater, is mainly used by the Iris network to identify the regular Domzi, probably referring to the fact that they eat the souls of other species to live longer. These beings, of extraterrestrial origins, have been acknowledged to reside on various places in Helice, and often occur in different shapes. They usually appear as an odd mix of floating bones and dark flesh that resembles the form of a spider. They have a pearl stuck in the middle of their bodies. Some are also rooted to the ground with dark root-like tentacles. These may be infant spirit eater, who lose their roots later in life. It may be a very quick process for a Domzi to grow from an infant to a mature stage, taking less than a few hours. The pearl they possess turned green by their influence is the source of their power and life, as well as their weak spot. They can use it to sap the energy of an organic entity, as a way of offensive means, and to give life to inanimate objects, such as mechanical parts. They can also call upon reinforcements and cause skeletal arms to sprout out of the ground and swipe at enemies only during their root stage. The only way to defeat them is to hit the pearl until the Domzi disintegrates. When they die, they usually wiggle their legs around and shrivel up like spiders in pain. The Domzi in general have the power to corrupt other beings if they are in their presence for too long, shown by Domzi-like growths appearing on the infected skin. The soldiers of the Alpha sections are the first to undergo this transformation. When they remove their helmets, their faces are revealed to be distorted with tentacle-like organic matter, and are no longer recognizable as human beings. Both Cleopatra and MSTR Cyclones are looking over the data of the Domzi and the combat data of the robots, in a room of the ship they're on. Because of their numbers and not being scared of being destroyed, the robots made short work of the enemy ships and ground forces. With no loss of life for the non-robotic soldiers on their side. In the room with them are Tron Bon, Piper, who are also going through the data. There are also 2 of MSTR Cyclones as ninjas with them, the sisters Ryobi and Ryona, who are on guard duty with Cheeto and Yuri. Because of how low-tech they are, they can't be remotely hacked and are cheap to make, allowing hundreds of thousands being able to be used to just overwhelm any force, MSTR Cyclones said. Used correctly they be a valuable asset, but the signal robots that transmits the orders to the other robots are the main weakness, Cleopatra said. Which is why the signal robots are more armored and have stealth engines on them, allowing them to turn invisible and have force fields, Tron said, who worked on the robots and made improvements while keeping them low-tech so that it's very hard to reprogram them or be hacked. The materia crystals that the planet is known for are similar to the crystals of our world. They're used as fuel and as material to make things, Piper said, examining one of the purple crystals. What about the pearls? Cleopatra asked, wondering what's so valuable about the pearls. The pearls are used by the Domzi as some sort of energy source. Jade has said how many of the Domzi creatures once dead a pearl could be found on them, Piper said, looking at the pearl that's on the table she's sitting at. These K-bups taste funny, Cheeto said as she ate the pink ball from the pink box with Yuri, Ryobi, and Ryona. They are synthetic food, Ryona said. And can last a very long time unopened and stored good. Yuri said, thinking how useful it would have been when she and Cheeto were out touring their old world. Better than the old rations, Piper said, having tried the K-Bups too. Which is much better than the emergency rations she ate when she pretended to quit the Stormhawks. I like it, Ryobi said, eating the pink ball. So what's the plan for Hillis, Mstr Cyclones, asks Cleopatra. Set up trade with the planet exchange for the materia crystals, we give them the weapons and equipment to deal with the DMZ. They do have technology here that is amazing. Izuku's PAK really made waves after it was copied, Cleopatra said. I'm still amazed that Izuku got all of you to fall for him, Tron said. I'm amazed that he's so dense about it, Yuri said. I saw it, Cheeto said. He's the dense idiot to love, but he's our idiot, Cleopatra said, sighing. We're going to strap him to the bed when we finally have SEC, Mstr Cyclones said. Yup, Cleopatra agrees. Where is Izuku? Piper asked. He's with Jade on the laboratory ship, Tron said, bringing up camera feed from the other ship and put it on screen. Laboratory ship. In the cafeteria of the ship, Izuku has been telling Jade and the kids Yoa, Zaza, Umi, Fen, Pablo and Kip about his adventures in other worlds as he searched for a way back home. Which Secundo helped by showing them pictures and video of some of the worlds he and Izuku have been to, and the friends that he has made. Also how Izuku is the dense idiot who has girls falling for him and he's too dumb to figure out that the girls are in love with him and only see them as friends. Wow, you are engaged with 13 princesses and their ladies-in-waiting? Jade asked. Not all of them have ladies-in-waiting, both Zelda and Ruby are by themselves, Izuku said. But still you have all those girls in love with you and are all okay with this group marriage? Jade asked. They are, and their parents see it as a means of having a good relationship with each other, Izuku said. You know, Yoa had a crush on you while you were staying with us, Jade said. Eep, Yoa said as she used her long hair to hide her face. The other kids laughed, seeing Yoa being embarrassed for once. She was younger than you, but now you two are around the same age now, Jade said. Yoa, I do think of you as a friend, but I am now engaged to a bunch of other girls now. If you do want a relationship with me, you have to share with the other girls in my life, Izuku said. It was years since I last saw you, Yoa said. You two should get to know each other again before you just make a big decision like this, Jade said. How would I do that? Yoa asked. Exchange student, Secundo suggested. Command ship. Another girl, Cleopatra, deadpanned, watching the screen. At this point, we shouldn't be surprised, Mstr Cyclones pointed out. If Izuku goes and check up on his other friends he made, how many other girls be joining the HRM? Tron asked. Cleopatra and Mstr Cyclones looked at each other, wondering themselves how many girls are out there that are in love with Izuku. Well, there are the girls in the other ninja schools, Ryobi asked. They are all in love with Izuku too, Ryona said. Having my own ninjas, Cleopatra said, thinking out loud. Copycat, Mstr Cyclones said. And you have us, Yuri said. We've been sticking with you no matter what, Cheeto adds. True, but having some ninjas would be cool, Cleopatra said. On a computer screen, a list of the ninja schools and the girls of those schools that have fallen for Izuku is shown on the screen. Showing the pictures of the girls and their measurements, their skills and abilities. The girls of Hanzo National Academy forged lifelong friendships, not only with each other as a team, but with their rivals as competitors and equals. Asuka, Ikaruga, Katsuragi, Yagyu, Hibari, Fuma, Hijikata, Ayam, Saimai, and Muramasa. The shinobi students of the Gessen Girls Academy pride themselves on strict DSPLN and purity of spirit. Yumi, Murakumo, Yazakura, Shiki, and Minori. Kagura Thousand-Year Festival Executives, a group of shaman shinobi. Ryoki, Renka, Hanabi, and Kafuru. Milky Pop, a idol group that live a double life as shinobi. Mai, Jajui, Kaguri, Tamaki, and Yujiri. ARC Angels, a rock group full of shinobi that live a double life. Tsubaki, Karasu, Yukio, Sakeiyo, and Tachibana. Municipal Blossoming Arts, a shinobi academy that houses musician ninja. Kosuzu, Chio, Fuga, Kanon, and Aria. Shinazuka Industrial High, a shinobi school where the students are hobbyists to the extreme. Kiid, Hijui, Kasumi, Motochika, and Kurodo. Meisen University High School, a unique ninja academy that specializes in housing and training international shinobi. Tsubame, Ajiha, Yoshimitsu, Matsuri, and Mimi. Hakuo Girls Academy, a shinobi academy based on order and tactfulness. Unlike other ninja schools, which generally have their shinobi actively avoid dealing with the normal students and teachers on a regular basis, the university's ninja regularly interact the normal school populace. The Public Morals Committee is a special club within the school dedicated to maintaining order among the students, and the 5 elite students are members of the committee, with Koko acting as the committee president. Koko, Chihaya, Kanzaki, Kisaragi, and Ranmaru. Tono Tengu Shinobi Alliance, a group of exotic elite shinobi with more emphasis on animal motifs than the other shinobi factions. Waiwiyaki, Misato, Kumi, Ashimaru, and Nachi. Zodiac Guiding Star Association, a group of elite shinobi that revolve around Western zodiac motifs. Leo, Jinrei, Kurahoro, Suri, and Aimu. Senki Shu, a group of evil shinobi who seek to capture Wyoma for their own bidding. Hyoki, Miki, Reki, Maki, and Yuki. Amaji Sealing Congregation, a group of shinobi coming from the Hanadome. Village, a hidden place in Mount Amaji. Toki, Ui, Hyori, Kazakiri, and Amain. Cleopatra sat with the other princesses, Sunset, Rainbow Bright, Star, Diana, Iris, Bloom, Usagi, Azula, Lark, Adora, Ruby, Zelda, and Izuku. All looking over the different groups of ninjas who are in love with Izuku. With the princess reviewing which groups are suited for them. Sunset, you already have the shadow bolts, Izuku said. Yes, but they're not trained to act as spies and be one with the shadows, Sunset said. How did you get your ninjas lurk? Ruby asked. Mother was the Hamura Crimson Squad girls for me, Lark said. So what's it like having them around? Usagi asked. They watch over me, keep me informed on anything interesting and help me train, Lark said. Train in being a ninja? Adora asked. No, they help me train in the art of SEC, Lark said, causing all the girls and Izuku to blush. Why? Bloom asked. So that when we're all married to Izuku, that I'm more than prepared to show you girls the ranking of us wives. With all of you under me, after I show you all who's the boss in the bedroom, Lark explained, causing the girls to blush, expect for Sunset. Have SEC with, Star muttering as she's blushing a brighter red. We're all going to get married to Izuku, so why not have SEC with each other? If we all just have SEC with Izuku all the time, he won't survive past a year at most, Lark pointed out. Besides, I have gotten a taste for it. Well, me and Katra are close, Adora said, trying to say she and Katra are lovers. Just say you two have SEC with each other. I have SEC with my girls, Sunset said. You do? Iris asked. She does, Izuku said, blushing. Invited Izuku to join in, but he just locks himself in the bathroom, Sunset said with a smirk. I say we strap him to the bed when it's time to have SEC with him. Sure, why not? That way he can't chicken out. But we still have to do something to improve his stamina so that he won't be out of juice before all of us are satisfied, Azula said. At most, men can only last 3 to 4 times before they're spent, Lark pointed out. That won't do, seeing how Tai Li's sisters also want in this group marriage, Azula said. What? Tai Lin, Tai Lat, Tai Lao, Tai Lu, Tai Lum, and Tai Wu, all want to marry me too? Izuku asked, shocked. It's your fault for charming them, Azula said. I thought they were Tai Li, Izuku said. What? Bloom asked. Tai Li is one of 6 other sisters, they're identical septuplets, Izuku said. And you couldn't tell them apart, Zelda said staring at him with half-lidded eyes. Nope, and he invited all of them to dinner, thinking that Ty Lee kept forgetting about their dinner date, Azula said. I was cooking and invited Ty Lee to dinner and all of them showed up at the same time, Izuku said. They joined up with our group and they all dressed in the same clothes so that Izuku wow, D have to figure out on his own who is who, Azula said smirking remembering how the Tai sisters kept that up all through their adventure. I finally learned how to tell them apart, Izuku said. But going back to SEC with Izuku. We can just take turns, Ruby suggested. Ruby, I have been meaning to ask you this. You're a Kraken, can you even have children with a human? Rainbow Bright asked. I asked Mom about it, and we Krakens can have children with humans, Ruby explained. So live BRTH or eggs? Rainbow Bright asked. Eggs, Ruby said. So you don't have melons? Iris asked. No, I don't, and before anyone ask, I have a vagina and an anus, Ruby said feeling uncomfortable with the line of questions are going and decided to just cut to the chase. It's actually quite fascinating in how Krakens have so much in common with humans. Dr. Mobius thinks it because of so much crossbreeding between humans and Krakens in the past. He's still trying to figure out how two different races can have offspring with each other and thinks there must be a common ancestor. Or there was magic involved in the creation of Krakens and mermaids that had humans being used as the template, Izuku said having also was very interested in learning how Krakens are as they are. Dr. Mobius thinks that an ancient magic user or group turned humans into the first Krakens, Ruby said. Which explains the transformation and magic trident, Zelda said. Where does your clothes go when you transform? Bloom asked. I have no idea, Ruby said. Izuku woke up with the familiar weight of Piper sleeping on top of him, her head on his chest as she cuddles him while she sleeps. But it's different as Tai Li, Tai Lin, Tai Lat, Tai Lao, Tai Lu, Tai Lum, and Tai Wu are also all sleeping on the bed with them. All of them wearing the same underwear of a tank top and shorts, making it very hard to tell them apart. Which is the reason why all of the sisters are sleeping with him instead of just one of them. As it's been so long that he just couldn't tell them apart, so all of them are sharing their sister's turn with him till he could tell them apart. It wouldn't be so bad, if it wasn't for the fact that they all toss and turn in their sleep. Which is why he has one of the Tai sisters' foot in his face. And a set of large melons pressed up against his head as one of the sisters cuddles his head to her chest. All the Tai sisters are well gifted in the BRST department while having slender and flexible bodies. Because of them looking so much alike and them dressing the same, it's very hard for anyone to tell them apart. Not helped that they sound alike and only a computer voice match can tell them apart. There is some differences in how they speak, like how Tai Lat is more bossy and how she talks and Tai Lum is dull. They also all work in perfect sync with each other, except for Tai Li who is usually off sync with her sisters because of the years she spent apart from them. Time to wake up. It's a school day, Muggy the toy-size Securitron said as EDE the iBot made loud beeps acting as the alarm clock. Both robots have once again taken to being Izuku's close companions, but mostly stay in the embassy and look after Inko. They also join Tow who is working as a tow truck around Oceanside. Tow has slots where both smaller robots can insert themselves into and connect their systems to the larger robot. Their systems allow Tow to have greater processing power and their coolant systems with his to keep him from overheating. Jumping on the bed is Roxy, who is now in a new synth body, so that she's could do things that her cyborg body couldn't, which is kept in cold storage. Namely being able to jump on the bed without crushing it under her weight. Roxy is a part of the embassy's security and being the family pet. Roxy spends most of her time with Inko, keeping her company. Or spending time in Ruby's world and be her pet, having been her family's pet. I'm up, Izuku said pushing Roxy off of him as she licks his face. Roxy went to the others on bed licking them as well. Enough already, Piper said as she buries her face into Izuku's chest to avoid the dog licks. Come on, we need to get up, Izuku said as he sat up. And you can wash us, Tai Lat said. I did that last night, Izuku said. Because of how weak Piper's body is, even with the advanced medical equipments being used to heal her, she needs help as she easily gets tired and short of breath. Since being near him helps her in recovering back to her full health, Isuku has been taking care of her. Like in the bath, he washes her thin body that is still grayish in color from her normal brown skin, haggard complexion, and dark circles around her eyes. Something he learned how to do when he was Lark's servant and washed her body. Which caused the other girls to want to have him wash them as well. Since then, when one of the girls has her turn to sleep with him and Piper, Isuku would also hand wash their bodies too. The girls just told him that he just has to get used to it as he is going to marry all of them. So why should he be so embarrassed about washing their naked bodies? Well, you can do it again, Tai Lu said. EDE made beeps which caught Izuku's attention. The 16 of us? Isuku asked as he sat up and looks around the bed and saw that indeed that there's 7 other people in bed with them, 7 other girls. The 7 girls who all have different colored hair and all looked alike, like the Tai sisters, who are all very familiar. Like the one with brown hair that was clinging to his arm and him sitting up causing her to wake up. And her screaming and waking up everyone else on the bed. Later, after calming the girls down and telling them that he would explain things during breakfast, all of them sitting in the dining room and everyone has calmed down. All of them having breakfast, a farmer's lunch, an omelette and roasted parsnips with baby arugula. The girls who woke up in bed with Izuku and the other girls are the L sisters, who all used to be merged with each other till Izuku using the ring of the 9 dragons split them into 7 bodies. The L sisters all have new names, and also each have superhuman abilities. L Pink is Rose. Her power is that she can mentally freeze time and evaluate her surroundings so that she can make the right choice in any situation. As she can see every possibility she can do in her environment and make the right choice. L Green is Teal, has the ability to sense her surroundings, letting her see things that others can't, and has animal instincts allowing her to track things that others can't. L Blue is Lapis, is a genius with her mind being able to think faster. L Brown is Sienna, has the power to make herself invisible, not that people can't see her, it's that they just ignore her. Like something that's right there but you don't notice it. L Purple is Violet, is able to move at super speed and agility. L Yellow is Marigold, has super strength. L White is L, can feel others' emotions, sensing what they're feeling. Splitting us apart and just leaving like that, was a PP move, Izuku, Rose said. A security camera caught the whole thing and everyone knows that magic is real. Followed by the broadcasting multiple recordings of the battle at a mental hospital in America. Revealing that a group of people have been killing off people with powers for over 10,000 years, Teal adds. The entire group is under investigation with the entire staff of the mental hospital in government custody. Looking into who is in the group, Lapis said. They would have been after us too, Sienna said. Good thing we're so high profile, Violet said. Because of what you did and showed that you can use a portal to travel, people are worried about invaders from other worlds appearing and having powers or advanced technology or magic, Marigold adds. So the governments want people with powers on the payroll. We're being offered full scholarships and a job offer with the government when we're older, Elle said. We could get in touch with the governments of your world, Piper said. The Nile Empire has made bringing in new planets into the wider universe into an art form, Izuku said. Now that you're caught up with what happened to us, mind telling us why you're sleeping with 8 girls? Rose asked. That's because of me, Piper said as she began to explain about her medical condition where because of her being able to infuse crystal energy into others which she overdid it and almost killed her. The HRNSS she's wearing on her chest is the only thing that has been keeping her alive all of this time, till she was reunited with Izuku, who somehow stabilizes her body so that she could both heal and be able to infuse others with crystal energy like Lark does. And Lark is a princess from one of the 13 worlds that a princess that fell in love with Izuku linked up to his world, so that they could get married. Wait, princesses? Marigold asked. I'm engaged with 13 princesses and their ladies-in-waiting, Izuku said as he explained how that happened to the Ellie sisters since he last saw them. You're going to be married to how many girls? Elle asked. 75 girls, Izuku answered. Wow, and you can handle all of them? Lapis asked. I can't believe you girls all agree to it, Teal said. Izuku is just that important to us, Tai Lin said. But how would you all be able to spend time with him? Rose asked. Take turns and also have a taste for girls. Lark has and is preparing herself to show the others their place once we're all married. By having SEC with them to show who's the boss, Piper said. What? The L sisters asked blushing. It's either that or we end up killing Izuku, Tai Lee said. We're going to share him when it comes down to having SEC and see if he can tell us apart by how different we are by feel, Tai Wu said. It'd be interesting to see if he can, Tai Loa said. You seven can join, Tai Lat said. Yoa is one of the girls in love with Izuku, but that was 2 years for her and she's an exchange student right now. So that she can get to know Izuku again and see if she wants to join the HRM, Tai Lu asked. We can just join. Sienna asked. Yes, you girls can join if you want. You all can decide on your own if you're comfortable in sharing me and being in a group married. And for how you two are here, it's either Discord or MXYZPTLK who teleported you girls here, Izuku said. Well, things are getting dull around here, so I decided to teleport some more girls here, Discord said, appearing scaring the L sisters by his appearance. Don't make me ask Cleopatra, Lark, or Sunset to use some energy thing to trap you, Izuku said. Come now Izuku, you left plenty of girls hanging there, even the ones who know that you're looking for a way home. Especially the ones who think you died. Check up on them, Discord said, disappearing and leaving Izuku with his words of checking up on the girls who think he's dead. London 1890. In his office, Mycroft Holmes has been busying himself in figuring out a mystery that has the docks around London buzzing with stories. For the past year, sightings of mysterious lights coming from underwater have been seen by dock workers and people on ships at night. Around the docks and shallows, there have been sightings of something long is seen appearing and disappearing. Many of the waitresses said that it's a sea serpent with one large glowing eye. And it's covered in seaweed. There is also something smaller that are also been appearing near the docks at night. That moves much faster than the other one, with many seeing a giant manta ray that has 2 glowing eyes. The next is sightings of a strange crab creature that has been spotted on the coastlines and at the docks. Having a dark green shell and standing at least 12 feet tall. It's been seen at spots where there have been shipwrecks, salvaging parts from what some people have seen. There are also the reports of strange happenings around England, that has something to do with the crab creature. Then there are the reports of something much larger out in the deeper water. Many claiming it's a sea monster or a whale with how big it is. 2 Navy patrol boats encounter it while it was resting near the surface during sunrise, allowing a better view of it. From what the sailors on board the 2 ships could make out, the thing is some kind of submarine that has been covered in seaweed and has a large whale skull on it, making it look like a sea monster. They could make out the metal body of the submarine and it had to be at least 54 meters long. The giant manta ray suddenly appeared and disappeared underneath it, and then the submarine sank into the depths. Putting the clues all together, Mycroft realized that the sea creatures aren't sea creatures at all but machines of some kind. It could be another nation or someone who managed to create underwater machines and are testing them. There is also cases of smuggling of raw gold or that have been showing up, that the custom agents having been finding with the source coming from the docks. Underwater. The base that Izuku built and left to her, has allowed Enola Holmes to live under the noses of her brothers and everyone else's. He taught her how to use the machines and tools of the base and even left a copy of Secundo who helps run the base. Izuku reset the copy to the default setting so that the copy could be made into a female version instead, but with the memories of Secundo so that she would know what to do. Now calling herself Stacy, the sister AI to Secundo runs the base and informs Enola what's happening and aids her. The base is made up of 3 large rooms that's used for power, food and water, and the workshop. The 2 moon pools, one for the prawn suit, and the other for the sea moth. The sea truck dock, and the Cyclops docking bay, which is a much larger moon pool that only has the upper part of the Cyclops poking out of the water. 8 basic rooms with one being the bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, dining room, trophy room, entertainment room, the other 2 are used as storage. The control room where Stacy's main computer is located, that allows her to run the base. And a scanner room that allows her to scan for resources and ships. Currently Enola is in the large room for food and water. She's tending the garden with the lantern trees, marble melons, the potato plants, and other plants she has brought to grow. She even brought in a beehive so that she would have honey and the bees can pollinate the plants, also having a flower bed for the bees. The waste from the plants are placed in a bucket that be emptied out into the bioreactor that turns it into power for the base. She also needs to clean the filters of the filtration machine that separates the water from the salt, providing water to the base and salt for her food. The machine could also make bottles of water for her and make blocks of salt, but only if she had it on the other setting. One of the crab robots walked by as she was walking to the power room. The crabs are modeled after the ones Isuku found on that alien world, and like those ones, the crab robots here help maintain the base. They do need to be washed off with fresh water like everything else that comes in contact with the sea to avoid rusting and salt buildup, but can easily be recycled and rebuilt as a new crab bot. Entering the kitchen, Enola pulled out a fish from the refrigerator and placed it on the fabricator. Atomically rearranges raw resources into useful objects, or in this case debones the fish, removing the organs and other dangerous things in the fish and cooks it before presenting her a fully prepared fish. It even deboned the ham she had last night and made it nice and tender. She had tested it out on some slightly spoiled meat and it removed all the rotten meat and left only the good meat. She made fish stew in tomato broth. She had learned to cook following the instructions from the how-to-do videos. Isuku had left her many gifts when he gave her the ownership of the base, like the instruction videos to teach her things like cooking for herself. Another is the entertainment videos of plays called shows that have people or drawings that move on their own repeating the same story over and over again. She got the idea to dress up her machines as sea creatures from a show with a talking dog and a group of young detectives that go around solving cases with people dressing up as monsters. She's glad that she's small and petite. It allows her to move around a lot in the small cramped spaces in the machines. She had just came back using the sea truck which has 5 modules, a fabricator, sleeping, 2 storage, and a docking module for the prawn suit. Exploring a sunken ship for valuables and resources. She has been mining the gold vein she discovered using the scanner, but it never hurts to fill up the war chest with more funding. She can't just be salvaging resources to repair her equipment all the time after all. Enola looks at the hanging reinforced driving suit that provides 50% physical protection and enhanced survival in extreme temperatures. It would need repairs after the last case she had. She was helping a man named Ellis Graham, who was on a quest to discover the fate of his old friend Julius Lambert, a scientist. To his dismay, Graham finds that his friend has bred a carnivorous plant with decidedly dangerous capabilities, with which Lambert is obsessed. He named the plant Carnivorine. A strange plant, a hideous shapeless monster, a sort of vegetable hydra or, rather, octopus, gigantic in size and repulsive in aspect and in coloring. So immense were its proportions, that is filled by itself the whole space of the conservatory. It consisted of a central bladder-shaped trunk or core, from which sprang countless branches or, rather, arms thick, leafless, of a livid green, and streaked with blotches of a dull crimson. Each arm terminated in an oval protrusions which had a resemblance to the human eye. Lambert's goal was to give Carnivorine the power of locomotion and set her free upon the world, for no very obvious reason other than that he believes he can, and that it would be an interesting scientific experiment. Which once given locomotion by Lambert, went and ate him. With Graham running away in fear, leaving Enola alone with the plant after it attacked her. Graham did return later with the police but not found an empty laboratory with no signs of the young woman or the plant monster. They did found the body of Lambert and whatever notes he left behind. Enola had used her stasis rifle on the monster plant, freezing it in place, long enough for her to pour some lamp oil on it. Then taking out a flare, she tossed it onto the plant, setting it on fire. Repeatedly firing the stasis rifle on the plant, keeping it in place as it burns. Finally the plant was dead, and using the laser cutter, sliced the plant into pieces. Where she took the pieces back with her to toss into the bioreactor to make sure it's dead. She did save the unburnt branch, drying it out before placing it inside a glass display case. In one of the extra rooms she has turned into a trophy room of her past cases. She places it with the other trinkets she has picked up, from the cases she has solved, but the plant isn't the only strange trinket she has picked up. The rusted remains of the highly sophisticated clockwork female automaton, Olympia, sat in a glass case. Her encounter with Isuku has opened her eyes to a world that people nowadays think are just fantasy. Now she's also looking for anything that has to do with the supernatural. 2 cases so far have bear fruit, but nothing that's like what she's seen with Isuku. Traveling to one world to another, seeing things that she could only dream about. She has to find a way to follow him. Turning off the stove and filling her bowl, she went to the dining room to eat and watch something on the television. Thinking of the blueprints of the portal gun, she has looked over it and can't make heads or tails of it. She's just not a genius in technology, to build one herself. She began to think maybe if she reveals the technology to her brothers and get it all out there, that there can't be someone who can do it instead. After all, why keep all this to myself, Inola said to herself. On the bridge of the Nile battleship, Celestia lifted up the giant plant-based kaiju known as Godzilla. He is over 300 meters tall, has extremely dense and rapidly regenerating metallic flesh, and bioelectrical abilities that let him create impervious force fields, launch waves of plasma from his tail, fire a particle beam that can reduce mountains to craters and hit objects in orbit, and a roar that creates immensely destructive shock waves. He is responsible for destroying human civilization, with only a few survivors left after others escape on spaceships. And into the sun it goes, Celestia said, using her power to move a star to hold Godzilla, making him unable to use his breath weapon or anything else to try to escape. She also broke off his dorsal plates off his back and other samples of his body for study. She flung Godzilla into the star faster than it could do anything to escape. Plunging into the plasma of the star, Godzilla tried to use its force field to protect itself, but while he could survive in lava and feed off of it. Plasma of a star is an entirely different matter, and he burned up to nothing. And I give the message to the people down below that Torrent asked to give them, VERYYYY said from a chair on the bridge of the ship, and turns to Celestia, who is sitting next to her. Thank you for the help. Any idea why she wanted to help this world? Celestia asked. There is the leftover technology that the 2 races, the Exif and the Bilosaludo, left behind. The technology and weapons created to fight the kaijus. The data from studying the remains of the kaijus, Yosira listed off from the top of her head. The Cyclonians are rapidly expanding and exploring new worlds, Celestia said. Their home Atmos is one where the only safe lands are on the mesas, or terrace as they call them. Limited land, resources, where the land below is a wasteland full of deadly creatures. The only place that is safe on Atmos is the far side of Atmos, and they're only recently been in contact with the people there, Yosira said. How did they know about what's on the other side of those mountains when they can't be passed? Celestia asked. No, it is possible to cross the mountains by climbing them, but doing it and coming back is rare, and only a few people had done it before. After all, how could stories spread about a place if no one was ever there to see it before? Yosira said. That makes sense, Celestia said. That reminds me, remember that garbage-covered world that Isuku ended up on when we saw some of the worlds he went to, that had that robot that's been cleaning it all on its own? Yosira asked. Yes, Celestia said. Lark told Isuku and the others some scouts came across it, and his old friend is still up and running. Cleopatra told me all about it. They're all going to that world to see Wally, Yosira said. Sunset didn't told me anything. She hardly tells me anything, Celestia said. You did go and never told her she's your daughter for most of her life. You can't expect for her to just forgive you for that, Yosira said. I know, I explained my reason, but with her going into the mirror into the human world and running into her human counterpart with my counterpart, she discovered the truth on her own. I kept it secret so that while my sister Luna was still Nightmare Moon, she wouldn't go after sunset to get to me, Celestia said. And now, she want nothing to do with you. She's closer to your sister than she is with you, Yosira said. I know, Celestia said sadly. Seeing Luna with her new daughter Eri, she sees how she and Sunset could have been like. She refuses to allow me to mark her with my scent. Is that why Sunset likes to sleep with Isuku and the others? Yosira asked. Yes, marking herd members is a cultural norm for my people, Celestia said. And why you were so upset when you discovered Isuku has been sleeping with Sunset and her herd? Yosira asked. Her marking Isuku as her stud without informing me first, made me realize how bad our relationship is. I had thought that with time we could mend our bond, but Sunset not informing me about her herd accepting a stud, which it's traditional to introduce the stud to the herd's head mare parents first, Celestia said. What have you actually done to earn her forgiveness? Yosira asked, causing Celestia to fall silent. Wally World. Before 2105 AD, during the middle 21st century, the Bian large corporation assumed control of the planet's entire economy, including various world governments. 2105 AD, the population had reached to around 200 billion. After Bian Large gave the right for everyone to spend and buy, the planet soon came to the position that there was no place to properly dispose the waste. After Bian Large failed to dispose all that trash, they created an amazing plan, that they thought the best and would work, called Operation Cleanup. The plan was to evacuate all of the population except some who stayed behind for maintenance away in different regions of space. Whilst back on Earth, Wally Waste Allocation Load Lifter, Earth-class robots and huge mobile incinerators would take charge of cleaning up. Thousands of starliners, including the Axiom, were built all around the world, so that people would live safe and happy far from home, in the comfort and the luxury of the starliners. Operation Cleanup success would be followed by Operation Recolonize. However, back on Earth the toxin levels began rising and many Wallies were FAIing. After the CEO of BNL that time Shelby Forthright saw that his plan was failing and everything was becoming worse, so he ordered all of the Wally robots to be shut down except for one and to evacuate all of the remaining population left. He also secretly sent the A113 directive to all autos in the year 2110 to cancel Operation Recolonize as he deemed that Earth would never support life anymore. Earth was left without population, and the toxins also destroyed all plant and animal life, although it's possible that some animals such as cockroaches survived somehow. Aboard the starliners, over the centuries, each new generation of humans grew more and more obese, losing bone mass in the process, due to overexposure to micro or artificial gravity and instead relying on hover chairs to move around the ships. They also started to forget about home. 2805 AD, the last remaining Wally unit continued to obey his directive every day and doing the same job over and over, creating small cubes from trash and building colossal towers from them, while there were no humans to start the incinerators. Earth was covered in trash and suffered from sandstorms and torrential downpours. Now is the newest colony of the Cyclonian Empire. It's still small, a shielded area to protect against the weather of the planet in an area that's mostly cleared of the trash that's all around them. Most of the buildings were torn down and replaced with new fabricated buildings, while other buildings that were in better shape were repaired and reused. All centered around the base. That has been built around a robot truck on a broken bridge, that was built by Isuku. The reason why a colony was built on the garbage-covered world, is because of the garbage that is rich in resources. The people living in the colony are mostly workers who gather up the garbage to be recycled using machines called recyclers that came from the Nile Galaxy. The recyclers are a wonder, being able to break down anything into either organic, synthetic, or mineral materials that take the form of square cubes or ball. The synthetic and mineral cubes can be used as building materials in fabricator machines, and the organic cubes are used to fuel bioreactors or biofuel. The workers are like miners digging through the mountains of trash and bringing back their load to a recycling center and being paid by the amount they brought back or anything of value they had found. A lot of valuable items are thoughtlessly disposed of by the society that used to live on this world. There are still some working devices in the piles of garbage, which is always valuable to find. As there's no telling with seemingly useless component, is in fact a key to more advancements in technology. It's how Lark figured out how to create her own ion cubes, using her knowledge of crystal alchemy and cherry-picking useful technologies here and there from the many worlds she discovered. Ion cubes contain massive amounts of energy equivalent to a small nuclear detonation in a stable state. The problem is that Isuku, while taking all the ion cubes he could find in the abandoned base he found in that alien ocean world, and harvesting the cubes from the alien primary containment facility where he made ion batteries and ion power cells, he still only had a limited supply of them, which he used or lost or gave away or sold during his travels. By the time he met up with Lark, he only had 12 ion cubes, 10 ion batteries, and 6 ion power cells left, which she took like much of his remaining items and equipment he had left in his pack, studying them to advance her empire's technologies. She figured out a way to make ion cubes, but to make even one cube takes a lot of energy. That is why the old nuclear power plants, wind turbines, solar plants, have been reactivated after robot crews repaired them. Other power plants have been redesigned to use bioreactors instead of coal, using the organic cubes made by the recyclers to fuel them. All the power created are used to create ion cube using the ion cube generator that after collecting enough power creates one cube at a time. You figured out how to create your own ion cube on your own? Cleopatra asked as she and the other princesses are in the original base that Isuku made. She and Lark are sitting together off to the side. It took some time and finding the right technology to do so, but I did, Lark said, watching as the others are interacting with Wally, a strange robot who gained intelligence after operating alone for over 800 years. Wally is allowed to do what he wants around the base, as all he really does is follow his programming in cleaning up trash and collecting things he finds interesting. Many of the people in the colony find him cute, like the other girls of their group. His pet cockroach on the other hand creep them out. The other robots, the other Wallys designed to be an environmentally friendly garbage processing robots, have all been repaired and reactivated to help in compacting the trash for easier handling. They're not the only robots working to clean up the planet and collect the valuable materials. They're not the only robots cleaning up the trash, Mr. Handy robots and protectrons have also been put to work cleaning the trash. Being custom built to handle cleaning up the trash piles, with some protectrons having the lower body of robobrains and attached to carts to hurl the compacted trash of the Wally robots back to the recycling centers. There are also some sentry bots who pull larger carts and act as guards. The ion cubes made big changes in my world once the scientists they figure out how to make them. The race that made the technology really knew how to make them last, Cleopatra said. Have you found the ocean world Isuku went to? Lark asked. No, still haven't found it, Cleopatra said. Have you found anything interesting in this world? Besides the robots, not much besides valuable materials. But that's the reason why there are so many people who come to live in this colony. There's no telling what valuable technology is just laying underneath a pile of trash, Lark said. Is that how your world advanced so fast? Cleopatra asked. You'd be surprised at what people throw away. One of the newest members of Cyclonian Empire, views garbage as power and is running an operation in one of the new worlds found, where the people there are throwing away tons of useful technology and resources just for the taking, Lark said. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author MadHat886 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.